I always thought betrayal would be loud, shouting, a cinematic unraveling of truth. Maybe I'd come home early, find strange shoes by the door, hear voices tangled upstairs. Or maybe Raquel would hurl a wine glass, accuse me of some imagined sin, storm out with a suitcase while Ara screamed behind her. That's how it happens in the movies. Explosive, obvious, unforgiving. But real betrayal? It slides in quiet, like fog. Like the silence after you've already been dismissed? You just don't realize it yet. My name is Sullivan Marsh. I'm 44, founder of Iron Light Risk Solutions. Before that, I was a Marine. I've seen war zones quieter than my house these past few months. And somehow that silence felt more lethal. 17 years Raquel and I had been married. We used to be sharp together, efficient, a team. She was brilliant at strategy. Cold, yes, but always in control. I mistook her edges for precision, not distance. We had Ara 16 years ago, back when everything still had purpose. Raquel planned. I executed. It was our rhythm, unspoken but constant. She was the future, I was the present. Lately, even that rhythm faltered. Raquel grew colder, impatient. Her phone never left her hand. Her laugh disappeared, like it had been stolen in the night. And Ara, my daughter, once my quiet shadow, had grown sharp, sarcastic, always glued to her mother's side, like I'd become something to be tolerated, not trusted. I figured it was adolescence. The huffing, the eye rolls, the distance. Normal. Kids test boundaries. They pull away. But then Raquel started locking the office door, taking phone calls outside, stopped saying goodnight. I didn't want to snoop. I built a career on surveillance, but I believed in trust, especially under your own roof. Still, one night, after a storm knocked out the network, I was restoring the system when I noticed something. Ara's phone listed twice. Curious, I checked. Could have been a sync error, maybe an old device. But then, timestamps, audio clips, voice memos, recent ones. My hand hovered over the mouse. I knew once I clicked, I couldn't unhear it. Click. Static. Then Ara's voice, muffled but clear. Mom, I don't like this. He hasn't done anything, he's just here. Then Raquel's voice, calm, deliberate. That's the problem. He's always here, watching, judging. If we're going to start fresh, we need him out of the picture. But it feels wrong. It's the only way, trust me. Click. I listened to every file, each one pierced like a needle threading, through my ribs, planning, positioning. My wife coaching our daughter to paint me as unstable, an intruder in my own life. They talked about me like I was a ghost haunting their potential, like removing me was a renovation. The betrayal wasn't just Raquel wanting me gone. It was that she used our daughter, coached her in deceit. And Ara let it happen. I didn't sleep. I just sat in the dark, listening. The silence between clips echoed louder than the words. My office light cast shadows across the floor like prison bars. I thought about confronting Raquel immediately. But rage wouldn't serve me. I needed strategy. By morning, I stood in the kitchen watching her make coffee like she hadn't just conspired to erase me. Same robe, same pen in her hair, the one I bought in Venice. She smiled, polished, distant. Got that SAT prep thing today? She said. I nodded. We should talk later. Of course. Later never came, because by then, something inside me had shifted. The man who trusted, gone. The husband, done. The father, still here. That afternoon, I logged everything, secured the evidence, then stared at the photo on my desk, me, Raquel, and Ara at Lake Powell, her head on my shoulder. Raquel's smile once real. I stared until I felt nothing. They wanted me out, but they didn't know. I'd already started walking away emotionally, strategically, and if they thought I'd crumble quietly, they'd forgotten who I was. My name is Sullivan Marsh. ex-Marine, founder of a firm that's outmaneuvered cartels, corrupted boardrooms, rogue states. Now I was preparing for my most personal op yet. They thought betrayal was the end. For me, it was the beginning. The narrator, a parent embroiled in a legal and emotional custody battle, documents the moment when the truth begins to unravel. A leaked audio clip, not from them, but from within the opposing side, exposes key figures, including Raquel, the other parent. The narrator's daughter, once distanced, begins returning emotionally and physically. The true antagonist emerges in the shadows. Gregory Bell, a so-called family friend, whose manipulative guidance and messaging to the daughter reveal a calculated attempt to isolate and discredit the narrator. Strengths, atmosphere and tone. The emotional gravity is palpable. Scenes are charged with unspoken weight, especially the silent reunion between parent and child. Pacing. The timeline from 1739 to 2604 creates a feeling of real-time unfolding. It's cinematic and immersive. Dialogue, sparse but meaningful. I didn't ask you to. And she didn't knock on my door this time, but it was something. Are particularly powerful lines. Characters. Talia and Ava are strong supporting characters, grounding the story with competence and clarity. Ava, in particular, has a presence despite minimal dialogue, suggestions for improvement or expansion. Clarify the timeline slightly. The timestamps work well for immersion, but readers may want occasional anchoring, 3 days after the leak, or the next morning. Define relationships. Earlier, for a first-time reader, it's unclear at the start who Raquel is, ex-wife, co-parent, or how Talia fits in. Brief identifiers could help. Raquel, my ex. Balance, emotional, and investigative arcs. The technical detail toward the end is fascinating but slightly overwhelming. Consider breaking it up with more emotional reflection or a short scene. Expand on Gregory Bell. The slow reveal of Bell's role is well done, but a more vivid flashback or memory of a specific interaction between him and the daughter could make his betrayal hit harder. Close with a strong beat, the line, "This is grooming Ava said not sexually rewrite," seems cut off. You might consider clarifying or completing it. "This is grooming," Ava said, "not sexual, but emotional, psychological, rewriting her sense of who's safe." Possible next directions, court fallout, show how these findings could turn the custody case. Emotional rebuilding. Dive deeper into how the narrator and daughter begin rebuilding trust. Bell's motive. Is Gregory Bell acting alone, or is he backed by an organization or hidden agenda? She looked up when I entered, blinking sleepily. "You okay?" I asked. She nodded. "I was just reading. I forgot how calm it feels in here." She paused, fingers tracing the page like she was anchoring herself to something real. "Feels like home again." I sat beside her, quiet, not because I didn't have words, but because peace, when it finally arrives, doesn't need them. When I lived with her, I couldn't breathe. I sat beside her. "You can now," she said. She rested her head on my shoulder. For the first time in years, I didn't pull away. I let her stay. "I'm sorry for what I said in court," she whispered. "I know. I didn't mean it. I know that too." She looked up. "Do you hate her?" I thought about everything. The months of being cast as a threat, the nights alone in a house I'd built with love and steel, the lies, the betrayal, the way she smiled like she'd won when she thought I was broken. "No," I said finally. "But I don't forgive her either, not yet." She nodded. "Maybe one day. Maybe." She smiled faintly. "I like who we're becoming." So do I. That night, for the first time in a long while, I slept without double-checking the locks. Not because the world had changed, because I had. Healing is quiet. It's not a grand moment. It's the small things, like the kitchen no longer echoing. In the morning, when Ara hums while pouring cereal, or the guest room, her room, looking lived in again, books on the nightstand, a sweatshirt over the desk chair, shoes by the door. She stayed. I didn't ask her to. There were no big talks or emotional confrontations, just steady, consistent choices. She started doing her own laundry. She set alarms. She came to dinner without being called. We didn't revisit the courtroom unless she brought it up. And when she did, I let her lead. One night, after a late consulting session, I found her on the back porch sketching by the porch light. The wind carried a hint of fall. I handed her a hoodie from the coat rack. She didn't say thank you. She just pulled it on like it belonged to her. "What are you drawing?" I asked. She held it up, a half-finished image. 2 bridges over water, one crumbling, one under construction. "This one's us," she said, pointing to the second. "Brick by brick, right?" I looked at her. "Yeah, brick by brick." She lowered the pad and stared into the dark. "I never hated you, you know," she said. I just didn't know how to stand up to her. She always had an answer. Always made it sound like the truth. I sat beside her, knees popping as I lowered myself onto the wood. "You were a kid," I said. "You were trying to survive." "No," she shook her head. "I was a coward. I should have questioned more, trusted what I remembered about you." "Trust gets buried in fear," I said. "And fear's loud. Memories are quiet." She didn't respond. She didn't need to. Some truths just need space to exist. A week later, she handed me a notebook filled with handwritten notes. "I want to go to therapy more regularly," she said. "And I want you to come to a session if you're willing." I nodded. "When?" "Next Thursday." I showed up, sat beside her in a room with soft lamps and calming ocean art. She talked. I listened. Then I talked. She listened. We didn't fix everything, but we started something, and that was enough. Meanwhile, Raquel vanished. She didn't just go quiet. She erased herself, closed her profiles, resigned from her company's board, moved to Asheville, changed her name. No one followed. No one looked. She was gone, not just from court, but from the world that once applauded her. Bell, though, stayed visible. His name surfaced in podcasts about legal abuse, in law journals dissecting his manipulation. Predator, custody fraud, emotional grooming. That's what followed him now. One afternoon, I was in the garage tinkering with an old marine compass. Ara held up her phone, a screenshot. "This guy tried to contact me," she said. "Through a friend's DMs, fake name. He asked if I was still angry at my father. You okay?" She nodded. "I'm not scared of him. Not anymore." "You sure?" "Yeah. I know what manipulation looks like now." I took her phone, opened our encrypted family safety app, and added another block. "Next time," I said, "just send it to me." "Copy that," she smiled. That night, she asked to go for a drive. No destination. Just the road and a playlist she made. We drove with the windows down, silence slicing through the wind. We passed her old school. "I used to think you were the villain," she said. "And now?" She shrugged. "Now I think maybe I didn't know the whole story." That's all I ever wanted, a fair look. She turned up the music, moody indie track, too many metaphors, haunting guitar loop, but it fit. Back home, she paused at the door. "I've been thinking about college," she said. "Psychology, maybe. You'd be good at it." She laughed. "Figured if I've got trauma, I might as well use it." I chuckled. "Spoken like a marsh." She looked surprised. "You still want me to be one?" "You've always been one. That never changed." That night, she left her door. Open. A small thing. But after months of locked silence, it felt like a parade. I restructured my schedule, fewer clients, more time with Ara. We started Sunday breakfasts, pancakes, eggs, music playing. I taught her how to change a tire. She taught me how to use my phone. But more importantly, we learned each other again. Not as roles, as people. She left notes on the fridge. I framed her sketches in the hallway. And every time I walked past, her door, I didn't wonder if she'd leave again. Because I knew she wasn't here out of guilt. She was choosing to stay. 3 years passed. You don't see healing in the mirror, not all at once. But it shows in how your breath doesn't catch at an old photo, in how your daughter, now 19, laughs easily again. Alla went to college upstate, psychology major like she said. Her dorm is organized chaos, books, coffee stains, sticky notes full of theories. We talk more than I expected, not daily, but often. And always she ends the call with, "Love you, Dad." That's what catches me now, how easily it comes, like it never left. Then, one Friday, I got the message. Mom's in hospice, Asheville, stage 4, it's spreading fast. She asked to see me. I stared at the screen. The words felt like ash in my throat. I'd prepared for this. We both had. But preparation doesn't make it clean. Only possible. She asked for you too. If you're willing. That part hit harder. Raquel hadn't spoken to me since the ruling. After Belle's disgrace, she disappeared. But now she reached out. I texted back, "I'll drive." We left early. The road to Asheville was foggy, heavy, quiet. Ara played soft music, watched the trees blur. "Do you think she means it?" She asked. "I don't know." She said she was sorry, that she thought she was protecting me. She wasn't. "I know," she said, "but I want to hear her say it. Out loud. To my face." The hospice was small, red brick, surrounded by overgrown lilies. Room 109. Raquel was barely recognizable. Thinner, pale, her hair cropped, patchy. The woman who once ruled boardrooms now lay under a cheap fleece blanket, an oxygen tube under her nose. Ara stepped in first. I followed. Raquel opened her eyes. "You came?" "You asked," Ara said. Raquel smiled faintly. "I wasn't. Sure you would." "I almost didn't," Ara admitted. Then her eyes met mine. "Sullivan." I said nothing. She searched my face like looking for a man she once knew. "I didn't think I'd get the chance." "Why now?" I asked. My voice was calm. My body wasn't. "Because I was wrong," she said, "and I didn't want to die with that still buried." Ara's eyes filled, but she blinked the tears away. "I told myself I was protecting her," Raquel whispered, "that you were too intense, too rigid. But really, I was protecting myself. From you, from your strength."